Hello, everyone, and welcome to Culture of Gaming's Power Up Podcast, episode 45. I'm your host, Taylor, and this week I'm, of course, joined by Anthony.
How you doing?
Good, how about yourself?
Yeah, pretty decent. Doing well for a Sunday. Nice and sunny for once.
Yeah, it's like daylight savings kicked in for this week, right? So it's like an hour later for you?
Well, the state that we're in, Queensland, doesn't have daylight savings, so we're like, it still is an hour later for us, so for this podcast, so yeah.
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 Alright, that's fair. And then what you been doing this past week?
Oh, yeah. Bits and pieces. Recording usual stuff. Got a couple of new games. Can't even remember what I got, to be honest. I believe I got Undertale last week. Got Sneak Thief this week, I believe. Looking at getting Just Cause 4. Hopefully going to be doing a review of that, which should be good. If my PC can run it. And apart from that, that's about it from me. Like, it's been I haven't really been gaming this week, if at all, really. Someone's gone.
With the whole Undertale thing, we could totally play Deltarune.
Yeah, it could do. Could do. Is that like
Because
that's a free?
that's like the it's a free beta, I think it was, or alpha. It's like the unofficial sequel to Undertale. I mean, it's pretty much an anagram of Undertale. Anyway, Deltarune.
Is it like co-op or what is it?
No, it's just single player RPG, similar to normal Undertale.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if Undertale was like 2-player or whatever. But yeah, that's about it from me anyway.
Alright, and then Joel, as you just brought up there, you've been playing a little bit of Deltarune, it sounds like?
No, I only been watching videos about it. But I'm so tempted to play it. I'm very tempted to play
it. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely looks really cool.
Anything else?
So, what else did I do this week? I picked up drawing as a hobby.
Nice.
Okay.
instead of staying at the screen all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
What else? That's about it, really. That's just all that really changed in my weekly schedule.
What have you been playing this week, if anything?
Smite. I downloaded Portal 2. I really want to get some recording done for that, but I just hope my laptop can handle it. It can't handle StarCraft 2 and recording at the same time, which was an absolute disappointment. I was so pumped for that.
That made sense. Do you know how processor intensive StarCraft 2 is?
No. I thought it would have been enough, because my laptop normally has no problem processing it, but then recording it is much more difficult, so I didn't think it'll be that bad.
Okay.
But yeah. That's about it, yeah.
Alright, well, welcome back to the show. And then, Kevin, long time no see, man. You've been on Power Up, I think, twice before. Now this is your third time. So, yeah, welcome back to the show. What you been up to this past week?
I've been playing Diablo 3 on the Switch.
Oh,
it's
yeah?
been really fun. Yeah.
Ooh.
I've been trying to... I never got into Seasons when it was on the PS4, so this is the first time I'm doing the Seasons content on Diablo, where you roll a fresh new character, try to go as far as you can, and then once the season's over, all your stuff gets transferred to your main account. But yeah, I've just been playing on the Switch, and since everyone is starting from zero, from fresh, no one can transfer their account, so everyone's kind of like at an even playing field right now. So it's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, it's the right time to do it. What class have you been picking up?
I picked up Necromancer because I didn't buy the DLC on the PS4, so it may. And looking online at the leaderboards, that seems to be the case. A lot of people didn't buy Necromancer, so everyone's rolling a Necromancer on the Switch.
Okay. Yeah, when I played Diablo 3 seasonally, mostly heavily on PC, I usually switch between like a monk and demon hunter each season.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
I know on the PS4 I was a monk and a witch doctor a lot.
Okay. Alright, so that's pretty cool. You do anything for the site this past week? Any articles come out by you, or?
I did a couple of reviews. I did the Black Ops 4 review, and I did a couple of comic book reviews. I'm working on 2 comic book reviews right now, and I'm working on an editorial talking about the end game space in Destiny 2, the Dreaming City. So I'm working on that, so look forward to that on Twitch, on our Facebooks, and check out the main site and keep up with Twitter, and you'll see the announcements there too.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, as Kevin alluded to, you can find Culture of Gaming on a lot of places on the internet. The main site, of course, is cultureofgaming.com. We have a few Facebook community groups. We have one for the main site, which is facebook.com/cog.net. We have one for the Power Up Podcast, which is facebook.com/powerpod. And then we also have one for our sister podcast, which is facebook.com/retrorumble. And then we have a community Discord, link to which you can find on the sidebar of our main site. Twitter @cog.net, Instagram @cultureofgaming, YouTube. We don't have a funny or nice YouTube custom URL yet. So if you help us reach 100 subscribers, so we get that, and I can stop doing this little disclaimer every time I have to bring up YouTube in the introduction, then one lucky subscriber for our YouTube channel will get a free game of their choice. Price limit of $60. But yeah.
So subscribe.
So yeah, $60 USD it is. Yeah.
Oh, is MySpace still a thing, by the way?
Idea.
You know it. We have
Alright.
myspace.com/powerpod specifically for this podcast. And then, of course, twitch.tv/cultureofgaming. Keep in mind, you guys as the audience can be asking us questions through all of these channels while we are live. Yeah. And then we will bring those up as they feel relevant to the discussion. The best places to do so, or main questions, however, will be the Discord and the Twitch chat, as we are now. Anyway, so let's get into the gaming news. Anthony, let's talk about Crackdown 3 and Terry Crews yelling at me.
Yeah, so I think this was announced today. The article I'm looking at was written an hour ago anyway, so this is very new news. Basically, what they've done is Microsoft's announced a firm release date for Crackdown 3. Finally, I believe it's been delayed 2 or 3 times now. And they've just kept pushing it out, and they've finally announced it for February the 14th, if I have that right. Let me just double check. Yeah, February 15th, 2019.
Okay.
After Valentine's.
And the previous release date was the 22nd. So
That's good to move because that date was filled with a lot of big blockbuster.
Yeah, so they kind of moved it back a bit, which is good to see. And it's coming to PC, which is good. I'm actually quite excited for this. The other 2 aren't on PC. Not that I can find anyway.
I wonder if they're gonna make it part of the Xbox Game Pass, where if you have, if you're a subscriber, you get it for free.
Well, they did announce this on the I think it's XO18, which is Xbox 18 event. So I would presume it's going to be like an Xbox game, so it's going to be like in the usual Game Pass situation. So like $10 a month kind of thing, cool. Which would be good to see.
You could you could subscribe for $10 that month, see if you like the game or not.
If it plays on PC.
Yeah.
So basically they also announced the whole multiplayer side of things, which was mainly done in a gameplay trailer. And their multiplayer kind of map and whatnot is called Wrecking Zone, which is going to include skills for kills, which is you can level up your super agent skills and move as fast as lightning, jump over skyscrapers, hurl trucks at your enemies and protect the city from cold-blooded criminals. Dangerous open world playground, play solo or with a friend in co-op mode to explore an expansive vertical world to infiltrate crime lords and take down their syndicates. Take a boom out of crime, lure vindictive criminal lords out of hiding by completing objectives, attacking criminal operatives and taking out high-value captains, and also the Wrecking Zone thing. So those other ones were like co-op modes, I suppose you could say. And the main multiplayer mode is called Wrecking Zone, which is it's going to include 3 unique modes where destruction is your ultimate weapon against friends and rivals. So I have yet to look at the trailer to see what it's all about, but I would suggest going on and having a look at it because it does, like from the screenshots that I can see, it does look pretty cool. So who's buying Crackdown 3?
Not me.
Why not?
This is a Microsoft game, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
When was the last Microsoft game?
Sea of Thieves. Was it not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Quantum Break before. No, Gears of War, and then Quantum Break before that.
Okay, because like Sea of Thieves didn't do that well, did it? So I'm thinking that they might need this to be quite successful.
Actually,
Sea of Thieves is in a pretty interesting place right now, I think.
Yeah, I heard that it's actually doing really well. It has a good enough community to be able to support post-launch content at least. So they're making it for that community. But it is Microsoft money, so they have more money to throw at things than say any other third-party publisher.
Yeah.
And
But is it as big as like let's say Gears of War franchise? The Sea of Thieves, is it as big as the Gears of War franchise?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. You also have to take into account how long Gears of War has been a thing.
Yeah.
You know, I think one released, what, 2008-ish? 2009? Maybe?
Yeah, about what,
yeah, something like that.
8 years ago, I think?
I think it was
I think the latest one was like 8
2006.
years ago.
Something like that.
Okay, anyway, so that's kind of, so looping this kind of back towards Crackdown, I guess the first question, will we see another delayed release date? Because that seems to have been the story for this game so far. Or do you think they've nailed it this time?
I think
They
they've
have it
nailed
nailed
it.
down.
They've nailed it because they've said that they're not going to be delaying it at all. Like, it's polished. Basically, what they're doing is QA testing it to see if it all holds up, and then they're going to be releasing it.
Okay.
So
And
it's,
before
it's,
jokes,
it's
it got
finished,
cancelled.
basically. Yeah.
I think it'll get released. I just don't think it's gonna hold a candle to everything else that's coming out next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think with Crackdown 3, I think it's kind of waited too long.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't...
Yeah.
I mean,
I know
yeah.
I'm not the target audience.
Yeah.
What even is the target audience for Crackdown 3?
I don't know.
Kinda what
I bought Crackdown to get Halo demo. So I don't know.
Fair enough. I mean, it's like it's kind of like Quake a bit, as far as, although it's in no comparison to Quake, but it's like that whole. I guess the audience is like someone who loves blowing things up and destroying environments, and it's gonna be like third-person shooter, so it's kind of like a Gears of War, but on steroids a bit. I suppose you could say.
Well, okay. I mean, I remember back in the like golden Xbox Live days, I had some friends on Xbox Live that loved Crackdown too, but they were pretty fanatical about Xbox in general. So maybe maybe that's sort of
just another little point on this. They've also confirmed it's going to be releasing on Xbox Game Pass. Also, Wrecking Zone will pit 2 teams of 5 players against each other in a fully destructive environment. So they're just like two other little things.
That could be its hook, because we don't have a lot of games where there's a lot of destructible environments. I mean, unless you consider Battlefield a little bit, but I've never really considered it to be like Battlefield 4 was all about levolution, and but we haven't seen anything like that in a while. So that might give it its hook. That some people might join in and jump and see what it's all about.
Right. And I mean, the last Battlefield game to have like full straight-on environmental destruction, like literally everything to be destroyed, was Bad Company 2.
Bad Company 2, so good.
What about Six Siege?
No, there's still like static parts of Siege that remain. That's the thing.
Okay.
There's only you can only blow through some walls and whatnot.
Yeah. As opposed to literally in Bad Company 2, you could collapse entire buildings,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Alright. So, Anthony, you kind of sounded interested in Crackdown.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that or anything, but pretty excited for it coming out on PC, do you think?
Well, I did play 2 and loved it.
Okay.
And, I mean, 3, I'm just hoping they don't mess it up. I mean, if you look at Sea of Thieves, again, like how it was brought up before, released badly, but then they've kind of supported it and grown it back up. So I kind of feel that if Crackdown kind of fails to launch properly, they're going to, because it's their only hope kind of thing, they're going to have to try and, boost it back up and get players interested in it again. So I kind of think that they can't really fail. Maybe give it like 6 months or so after release, and then it'll be a decent game. So,
Few years.
Give it the old college try, and it'll be good.
See what happens. Yeah.
You know what game I played that reminds me a lot of this new Crackdown, or at least Crackdown 2?
Yeah.
Agents of Mayhem. I don't know if you guys remember, but that came out last year on August, and I bought that at full $60 price. My mistake, but I actually enjoyed it a lot. It was not a polished game. You could tell they really rushed it. It was really buggy. It had so many problems. But for what it was, I enjoyed it. But I know it's not going to be it for everyone. And I definitely don't recommend. If you see it for $10, it's definitely worth a look-see, because there are some really cool villains, and the whole hero mechanic of being able to switch between all these different heroes, that was actually the fun part of that game.
They've stopped supporting it, haven't they? Like I think.
Yeah, there's no. They canceled all the DLC and all that stuff. So I was saying, I've seen it on sale for like $10. So if you ever see it for $10, I really recommend you pick it up for $10. It's really good, at least for that price.
Okay.
I do have to say though, it was like for me personally with Crackdown 3, it's that the entire advertising campaign about it has turned me off completely from the game.
You mean the whole Terry Crews advertising or everything else around it?
It's a mixture of everything.
Yeah.
Just, it's just like, every time it's like I've been hearing about this game for years now, because of how many times it's been delayed, and every time I hear about it, Terry Crews is always yelling at me.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you need to take a chill pill, okay? Like, come on.
But it's funny how that works though sometimes, because it's sometimes how long have we heard about Kingdom Hearts 3 and it's finally coming out after like 8-10 years?
Yeah.
And some people don't get turned off from it,
Well, yeah, but it's just like nobody's shouting at me about Kingdom Hearts 3 though.
True.
Why not?
It's like there's not some Japanese man screaming in my face about it.
It's just a small Jiminy Cricket going, "It's coming out."
Yeah, like on my shoulder all the time. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll catch the game on sale though or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Or
you
you can try it
know.
on Xbox Game Pass. I don't know if it works on the PC, but if it does, that'd be great.
If it's a Microsoft
might have-
game, it should. Like for instance, Forza 7 works on PC.
Not to derail the conversation too much, but what I am looking forward to from Xbox that's releasing soon, hopefully, is the Gears of War Tactics game. I'm actually really interested in that.
Yeah.
Let's
Did you
mobile,
play
isn't it?
Halo Tactics at all?
Yes, I played both. I didn't buy the second one, but I did play. I rented it from GameFly when I did have GameFly for a while. I just played the campaign and went
Okay.
with it. Yeah.
Okay. So, alright, I guess a broader discussion topic for this can be, do you guys like that what Microsoft's doing is integrating Xbox with PC and along with the Game Pass and everything? Do you think that's a good move on their end, or do you think they should keep the console to themselves?
I think it fails, to be honest. They don't give you enough for it.
Alright.
Like if you
That's fair.
go on, like for instance, I went onto the Microsoft Web Store and looked at what was available for PC. There's like 5 games and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they need to open it up a lot more and allow people to kind of play more stuff rather than just the Xbox exclusives, I reckon.
Okay. Alright, that's fair.
I think in theory, it's a smart move, but I do agree with Anthony. If there is not enough, is cross-platform the right word? If it's like pretty much exclusively
works,
with
yeah.
Microsoft brand, all right,
It works, yeah.
cross-platform, then you need like a huge variety for it to actually benefit the players or to interest them. So I do agree with Anthony on that, but I think in theory it's a good move.
I think it's just one of those type of moves that, one, it's very consumer friendly. 2, they're behind this generation, so obviously they're going to do whatever they can to win as many people back. And 3, it's setting up the framework to become what I see PS4 and a lot of other companies doing, becoming a subscription type of business. Because if you see all these moves and all these, I don't know if you guys saw that article, but there's an article saying how much PlayStation Now made $137 million last year just on subscriptions. And we know that PlayStation Now isn't really heavily advertised, but if it made that much just in 1 year, imagine what it could do if everything became streaming, and then everyone was subscribed to because Netflix makes bank because everyone's subscribed to it.
Right, yeah. So it's like, I think with the whole like Game Pass thing and integration on PC, it really depends on how Microsoft will support it into the next console generation. I mean, I'm not gonna skirt around the bush here. We're almost done with this generation. I think it's a reasonable prediction that E3 will get the formal announcement of the PS5 and Xbox.
Are you 2019 or are you Team 2020?
2020.
Yeah, I'm 2020.
I'm thinking announcement in 2019, release in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's people who believe that's going to be released next year.
I was saying earlier this year that it was going to be this year.
Okay.
Insanity.
Yeah.
We do have a...
I think if they do support it into the next generation, it has the potential to be successful. Then it's like if every Xbox Scarlet game is also on PC, then I think that'd be really good.
Yeah.
So.
Does the Switch fall under the this new generation?
What's up?
So, like,
Does the
does
Switch
the Switch fall under this new generation? Just
Uh,
It's
curious.
its own thing. It's always
We
its own
trying to
thing.
we're trying to discount Nintendo out of the
Yeah.
generational stuff.
Yeah.
Anthony, what do we have a Twitch?
Yeah, we do have a question. Hey guys, long time viewer here. This is Jakku. It's awesome to
Oh.
catch your stream finally. I wanted to ask, what do you think about Nintendo's announcement of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC?
Yeah, now it's DLC.
We know what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, that's news to me. Well, I'm fine with it.
Let me Google it.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. All right.
I didn't know they were doing a DLC, but I do know about Mario Kart Deluxe, so I can actually talk about it rather than, rather than the previous topic.
This is actually cool. This looks great.
All right, let's talk about this then. Anthony, what you got?
Mind you, I have not pre-prepared, so I might be reading from the article. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Update adds free Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is getting DLC based on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The great news is it's free and it's available right now. Update 1.6 for the racing game adds the Master Cycle Zero and the Champion's Tunic from Breath of the Wild. Also included in the update are tires and a paraglider based on the acclaimed RPG. You can check out the gameplay of new content below, blah blah blah.
This was ages ago.
Was it?
Yeah, my friend has it. I played Link on the Master Cycle.
This is
Did we just
July.
get trolled by Twitch?
Oh no. Okay.
July 20th.
Jakku, did you troll us right now? Just keep it.
Alright,
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, you
in
know
term-
what?
in-
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
in my opinion, from a gameplay perspective, the Master Cycle is decent.
Hmm.
at
Are we
best.
talking
But then
about in Breath of the Wild or in Mario Kart?
Mario Kart.
in Mario Kart?
Okay.
This
It's-
actually
it's-
looks really cool.
It's quite decent, but it's not the best. It's definitely not the best.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, he rides a bike, obviously. From what I'm seeing of it, it looks to be quite well. I like the
paraglider.
It actually
the
looks
paraglider
like a
thing,
motorbike
nice.
being ridden. It's not like upright and kind of insecure, I suppose you would say.
Okay.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, it actually looks like Sheikah technology as well from Breath of the Wild,
Hmm.
Right.
which I thought was pretty sick as well. With the hold on, I have to double check because it was a few months ago when I actually played it.
Hmm.
All right, that's fair. All right. So anyway,
Yeah, it is.
moving on past that, Joel. What's going on with Final Fantasy 15?
Okay, so basically, 3 of the 4 character-focused DLCs that were originally planned have been cancelled, and so the last one
Why?
that's left is the
Why though?
oh, because the game director Hajime Tabata. Sorry, I completely destroyed it. But,
That's okay.
yeah, the game director left the company in October. And so this actually, couldn't they just still have continued it even if the game director they really planned it out and they still have one of the DLCs going out anyway? Couldn't they just have left it, or do you think
I mean-
the other 3 weren't done?
Possibly, but it's like I think I don't think the other 3 were like finished or
Hmm.
out of early planning stages, maybe. But past that, probably not heavy development.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
yes,
suppose
we
that's
got trolled.
Okay.
Good job.
So-
Well done.
Awesome.
So the final of the actual DLCs is where you play as the antagonist, if I
Arwen.
remember. Yeah, Arwen.
And
And-
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they recently released a teaser trailer as well. I'm not 100% sure on that. I
Yeah,
do
they
have
did.
to. Okay, so that's actually pretty cool, and it comes out. I think next year March.
Yeah, it comes out next year. And-
I remembered it.
I think they're also making the sorry not to cut you off, but Final Fantasy 15 had a multiplayer mode called Comrades. They're making
Yeah.
that a standalone game that you can purchase for $10, or if you have Final Fantasy 15, it comes for free. And
Oh, okay.
that's its own separate
Okay.
thing. Just pretend it's kind of like a Final Fantasy version of Monster Hunter, where you can team up with 3 other people and go hunt big monsters.
That's pretty
Okay.
cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's
like
pretty
if you like the Final Fantasy 15 combat system, there you go. That's pure combat right there.
Yeah. All right. So Final Fantasy 15's game director leaves the company, and then things are gonna go down the toilet there. Joel kind of alluded to it there, but it's like, do you think? So granted that losing a game director is a pretty, traumatic and jarring event for any sort of game's like future development. Do you think canceling the DLC was a little bit too knee-jerky or a little bit too radical to do, or do you think it's kind of justified?
Okay, I have two scenarios for this. One, did Konami release another Metal Gear Solid game after Kojima left? Yes. Yeah. What happened with that? It was terrible.
Yes. Fair enough.
So I think this is just Square Enix trying to cut their losses and be like, you know what, without Tabata, who's able to direct this and lead the program, I don't think that. What's funny and weird to me is I can't believe they don't have anyone else within the company who'll be able to lead this charge and lead this development. You know what I'm saying? Like when KG and Ifune left Capcom, pretty much all the Mega Man games went down the toilet. No, we haven't gotten anything from Mega Man in a long time, except for Mega Man 11 recently, which did okay. So it's just weird.
Yeah, it's like that kind of alludes to me that the director of Final Fantasy 15 had a very specific vision for how he wanted the DLCs to go, and no one else, can quite step into it and fulfill the vision.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on how far down the development track they are as well. Like if it's just if the other 3 DLCs are just like a imaginary thing that hasn't even been started yet, like on paper, then they kind of do need to cut their losses and get out of there, I suppose you could say. But have they? How long ago did he leave? Like 2 days ago or a day ago? Or?
October.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So it's pretty recently, yeah.
When did Final Fantasy 15 release? Do we know that off the top of our head or no?
Yeah.
Late 2016.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In late 2016, 2017, it had a year of content, of DLC content.
Oh wow, okay.
That lasted until recently. I think the last episode was released earlier this year. I'm not quite sure on the date.
Okay.
But it did a pretty good post-content support. They added New Game Plus. They added a lot of stuff that if you're a Final Fantasy fan, you would like.
Okay, that's cool.
Oh, they also did the Royal Edition where they added boat sailing and they let you explore this other map. So yeah.
All right. So Joel, are you a Final Fantasy guy at all? Like, are you into this?
Not as much as I wish I was.
Okay.
I mean, I love the characters. So I was introduced to Final Fantasy through Kingdom Hearts, actually. Specifically since they used the characters from Final Fantasy 7, and when I searched about it and I found out what happened to her, Earlith, I was like heartbroken because she was one of my favorite characters in Kingdom Hearts. So I do know parts of the story, like parts of different games stories and stuff like that, especially the 7th one, and so I wish I had like the money to just buy it and play it, but I don't. So
what you're saying is that their plan of making Final Fantasy VII Remaster is up your alley.
Yes.
I saw that, and I was internally fangirling. I thought this was a sign to start Final Fantasy. So.
Yeah. You know what? Speaking of perpetually delayed games, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't think it exists. They're just trolling us.
Meme.
It's Square trolling again.
Okay.
I mean, this is the remake for Final Fantasy VII. It's been going on for years, if I remember correctly. I was in early high school, so like 5 years ago at least. They hinted at it. So
it was officially announced at 2015 at the PSX conference. That was the first time we ever seen actual footage of it, and I think E3 they teased it of that year.
No, I could have sworn it goes back earlier than that. I could have sworn that they had a PS3 Final Fantasy VII Remaster.
That was a tech demo.
Oh, was it? Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Because I remember they announced that.
That's what sparked the whole rumor mill about that, because of that tech demo.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where part of the meme comes from then.
Yeah.
Would be that tech demo. Which, by the way, still looks really nice. But,
yeah, it does.
Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, after all these years, it looks really good.
Hopefully, this not become a Half-Life 3. That's all I'm saying.
No, I don't
I'll
think a
just
lot of
leave it
games
out
will be a Half-Life 3 situation, to be honest.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think Half-Life 3 will ever be made.
Nah.
Which kind of
It's
sucks because
gone.
like they never really finished the story, did they?
No, but the expectations are way too high now. They're way too high. Whatever you think of in your mind of what Half-Life 3 would become won't live up to your expectations. Of
exactly.
Harvest Moon and all this
Exactly.
line. Unless
Valve-
it becomes a completely immersive VR experience that doesn't get you nauseous and you're able to play the game in VR and live in that world, I don't think anything else would be able to blow your mind.
Yeah, Valve has, self-admitted over the years that it's just like the hype is too big for Half-Life 3. I think kind of reading between the lines, you did imply that they've had multiple builds over the years of Half-Life 3, but eventually scrapped them. But yeah, just that to me seems on the reasonable side. You never know.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Yeah.
Feels bad. I guess we'll just stick to fanfics. My top.
You guys remember, I don't want to call it a leak, but one of the big dudes at Valve that was involved in Half-Life, like basically wrote like a letter that kind of implied what the overall plot of Half-Life 3 would have been.
Yeah, he was one of the writers
Yeah,
that
I
had
remember
left the
that.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that
No.
in 2017? Was that?
Yeah, I think it was 2017. I remember that
Okay.
news like not too long ago.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think kind of as Kevin said there, Half-Life 3 would need a massive, I don't want to call it gimmick, but massive new thing to just
Something.
completely blow everyone out of the water,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
What
so,
if Beyond? What if Beyond Good and Evil 2 is Half-Life 3?
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
I
I
did.
forgot that
If you
game
hear from,
exists.
remember, if you hear from MatPat, you actually heard it from here first. Just want to point that out.
Wait, yeah,
forgot.
when is Beyond Good and Evil supposed to be going out?
Yeah.
Pending.
Okay.
Pending approval.
TBD. To be fair, though, the looks that we've gotten at the past two E3s of it have been the most looks we've ever gotten about it. So,
You guys
yeah.
remember that weird announcement on E3 where Joseph Gordon-Levitt came out on stage for people to send in their artwork to be put into the game?
Yeah.
Yes.
That tells me it's very early in stages. We might not be able to see that game in a couple of years from now.
Next gen.
It's definitely something that's gonna be next gen. Just like Bethesda, Starlink, and Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like I think Fallout 76 will be Bethesda's last hurrah on this generation. So.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, because they have like Rage 2 and whatnot coming out next year.
And
so.
Doom.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Doom
Doom
whatever it
Eternal,
is.
that's due
Yeah,
also.
Doom
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Those are all technically Bethesda also.
Hmm.
Alright. You know what? Fair enough. So, I guess I don't want to call this the meatiest topic of the day, but one that definitely has the chance to go some places. Let's
Get
just
some
call it
debate
that.
going. Or something.
Yeah, alright. So, Kevin, let's, how about you tell us about this study thing?
Okay.
Study
Before we preface it, let's just put. I usually don't like to talk political stuff. I try not to engage in those type of conversations because it just leads to a nasty place and just people end up yelling at each other at the end. Anyways, there's this article by PJmedia.com called "Study Claims Men Who Play Video Games Perpetuate Techno Masculinity." Now, what this study is from a college who did a study by what they call study. They just literally just interviewed 20 video game developers, and based on what they said, they developed this terminology, which colleges like to do. Everything needs to be termed and everything needs to be labeled, right?
Yeah.
So then they're like, okay, how do men act online, or how do men act or women act in a technological space? Like we've heard stories of like Steve Jobs being an asshole in his own company to everyone that was involved, but you could say maybe he was an asshole, but at the same time it led his company to be one of the biggest companies in the world. True. Does that justify it? Who knows? But it's just a small study trying to not rile up people. I think whoever's reporting on the study with this article is trying to rile up people, play on the whole left-right part of video games right now.
Right.
But it's just a study trying to explain that male developers often are the ones who antagonize a lot of people of color, women, or LGBTQ persons and stuff like that.
So to clarify, really to clarify that point, is that saying it's like they harass them online or just in general?
That's what's weird about the study is that it doesn't specifically say how this was performed.
Oh, that's changed. Okay.
So it's like it might be either the fault of the person who wrote the article or the fault of the study. But from what I've known and what I've studied, every study that's out there performed in a professional setting has their research papers and the way they perform the study and all that stuff and what the parameters, the controls, all that stuff, right? So I think it's the journalist who wrote this article, but from this article, we don't know how this study was performed. We don't know if they interviewed them, what was the control setting, where are they getting these details from? So I guess just take it with a grain of salt. But I don't think this is too much anything to be worried about, other than people are just trying to make sense of the world right now, especially right now since we're in this digital age. How people interact online and versus real life is completely different. You know, some people are straight up hateful people, and some people literally just see stuff online and they go on with their day and they don't say a peep because guess what? It doesn't bother them.
Right.
This is how the world is, you know.
Yeah. So like,
Warriors.
yeah, you know, this article was published like 22 hours ago. I think that was the timestamp on it. And it's like this study is fairly recent also. This isn't a new thing, you know. It's like people harassing each other over the internet. This isn't a new thing necessarily.
Yeah.
It's been happening for ages.
The study was game designers, right?
Yes, it was. It just
20
interviewed
game
20 game designers. That's not really a study. That's more just an interview with a bunch of people.
Yeah, pretty much. What I don't understand is how the person who wrote the article came to the conclusion that also involved every single person that was associated with gaming. Because those were developers and stuff like that, but they weren't specifically gamers.
I will say that like I read the same article as well, and I got more out of it. That it almost seemed like it was trying to claim that people in software development jobs or like technology jobs that are men are typically like more aggressive towards women or have poorer attitude or more. Oh god, I can't believe I'm about to use this term, but more patriarchal attitudes towards women as opposed to others.
Yeah.
Right. And who inhabits that same space as game developers?
Right, gamers.
People.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, gamers. Yeah.
As if gamers aren't professionals, they're just enjoying the passion and playing a game, while the developers are actually people who are making the games, and also most of the time gamers themselves too.
Yeah. You know, all right. So a little bit of a personal thing. You know, I go to school for software development. Been doing it for 3 years. Okay. Basically, I can kind of attest to in the field I'm in. You know, it's 90% men, 10% women, and that's being pretty generous. Okay. And I do kind of agree with the points that a lot of the men in my field and everything, so a majority of my field based off that statistic and everything, you know, due to how it's broken up, is like they don't have the social skills that you might expect among some other people, you know? And I think, and this is maybe me defending them a little bit, but I don't think it comes from a point of malice or something. It comes from just, you know, them not knowing how to act or something, you know? Like, yeah, it's like this, that doesn't necessarily excuse it or something, but they're, you know, criminal intent is a big thing legally. You know, it's like, oh, I accidentally broke the law versus, oh, I know I broke the law. That's a massive thing for a court proceeding or something. So whether it's like in a lot of my experiences, they don't know necessarily what they're doing is like, you know, horrible
wrong.
Or something. Yeah, is wrong versus, you know, they know what they're doing might be wrong type thing, but you know, it's how they're brought up or it's how they believe they should be treating women or other people. Like
that's kind of one thing I love about. I want to age myself, but the younger generation grow up now. Where gaming when I grew up was very few people in my high school did that. It was like their own. It was its own clique. Now gaming is starting to be a thing that everyone enjoys. So then those people will interact with everyone else instead of just being this one little niche group that kind of just reinforces those bad behaviors. Because I'll be honest, when I was a huge dick in high school, huge dick. Like I was just selfish. I would call people like terrible names, all that stuff, right? But when I got to college, I realized, hey, you know, the world's a little bit bigger than me. Like I had to play nice with everyone else. So why not just have a good time with everyone else and stop being the person who controls everything. You know.
Yeah.
You know, that's a little bit personal life, but where was I going with this point? Anyway, the point is that I think these are just growing pains because remember we're very young as an industry. The video game industry, like the film industry, has been around for at least 100 years already. Now, comic book industry is way older, it's 80 years. It's just these things that happen. Like the video game industry, for the better part of the 90s, was white male men creating these games in a vacuum by themselves. You know, in
their backyard or something, like garage.
Yeah.
And okay, so to try to top off my personal anecdote, I guess like the best example I have of this is that I was my freshman year. My girlfriend, she was also going to school for software development as well. And this one night, we were cooking in like her dorm room kitchen, like kind of the communal kitchen that they have on her dorm floor. And yeah, it's just like I was doing a lot of the cooking, self-admittedly. But I got no problem with that, or whatever. It's like I know how to cook. I have no problem with cooking meals for myself or anyone else, you know. And
everyone should know how to cook.
Yeah, you know, one of our classmates came in, or one of this dude that we had known from a couple classes, never really hung out with him or anything. Came in, it's like, he's asking me, oh, Taylor, what are you doing? Shouldn't she be cooking? I was like, yeah. And yeah, so that's kind of the best example I have of that, and it's just like it's definitely a thing that exists, but I don't think it's a massive issue though.
But it's the internet, so it's gonna
It's gonna be a massive issue, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Joel, what's up?
Did he get beat up by your girlfriend in the end?
Oh.
Just curious.
Oh dear.
My girlfriend didn't quite know how to react.
Yeah.
I just told him that I was just like, I have no problem cooking, and it's like, I'm sorry. I basically just told him, I'm sorry, I want to survive on more than ramen for the rest of my life. Okay.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Which I did. which
is not a horrible way to be, you know. But
you just die when you're 30. 2-minute noodles. So there you go.
No, I think Kevin's did that a little personally there, Anthony.
Sorry.
I'll be honest. First year of college, plenty of ramen noodles. Second year of college, girlfriend. Hey, let me show you how to cook a couple of dishes.
Yeah.
I eat way better now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So you know, that's about as far as that went. So, all right, and so Joel, Anthony, do you guys? To me, I'm getting slight flashbacks to Gamergate. Are you guys trying to get in the same type thing where it's like, you know, gaming is this masculinity fest, or?
I mean, I'm very careful about what I've got to say because I've got polar opposite views to a lot of people. What I will say is I think that it's difficult for an industry to try and force women into that industry. I think it needs to be like, you know, the whole thing of, you know, we need to get more women into gaming and blah, 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 or into game journalism, not journalism, like game development or whatever, or into any industry. It's like over here at the moment, they're trying to get more women into science and whatnot.
STEM. Or is it STEAM? I forgot they changed the anagram on it.
It depends.
Yeah.
It's STEM. STEAM refers to also groups in arts. I always thought the STEAM program was like, okay, literally do something with your life.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it kind of needs to be a natural thing that just kind of like, if women want to do it, they can do it. Sure, give them an outlet to get into it, but it doesn't need to be forced. I mean, sure.
Which I think it is happening organically. I think for some people it's just not happening fast enough that they would like it.
Yeah.
I will say that I fully agree with Anthony. You know, it's like this is something that will eventually happen naturally, just like it did to the movies industry and everything, where, you know, we saw the rise of prominent women actors trying to happen.
And it's like it's like anything in nature or evolution or anything. Why force it when it's going to happen naturally, kind of thing. I think obviously the internet blows everything out of proportion by a mile. So I think just people need to be careful about what they've got to say. And this kind of article is dodgy and just shouldn't be written. And if they're going to do a study, they should do it correctly, not just interview people.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. one example I have here in California, I know this boot camp that teaches young girls a little bit of coding and how game development actually works.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of cool. And
Yeah,
obviously
that's awesome.
anyone can join, it's not just girls.
Oh,
But
I was
it's
going to say, is it women-centered or no? But you
no,
answered.
it's everyone. Anyone who wants to come or volunteer, whatever, they can come and help and see how it all. It's just that since, like you said, not a lot of women are in the sciences, this is one of those initiatives to help push them a little bit more to see, hey, they might be interested if we show them some people, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I think that's exactly the way you do it. It's just like, it's like kind of extend the feelers, so to speak, to see what, maybe get some more people interested in it, whether or not they're men, women. If you can make a useful contribution to this industry that we all love, your contribution, no matter who you are or what you are, is great, Joel, what you got?
I got nothing more to add, really.
Yeah, I think
you guys pretty much covered everything.
Okay. I do, however, take a very hard exception to this article, the way it was written, and to the study itself. This is the most poorly done scientific study I think I've ever read.
Yeah.
Not determining methodology, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, this is horrible.
You know what this reminds me of? I wouldn't doubt this is the case. This was somebody's thesis project that was a beginning thing.
Yeah.
And then later on, maybe if they get funding, they can do a more broad scale project,
probably.
to be able to.
That could be 20 games.
Because 20 is not 20 people isn't enough.
Abysmal sample size.
How do we know where they got them from, or what they've been into? Not what they've been into. That sounds dodgy. But like what experience they've had, or that kind of stuff. So you don't know.
It's like I don't think the study is peer reviewed either, which means. Unless other people study the same thing and come up with similar results to kind of confirm this idea, this can almost be dismissed in the sense of,
let's say popular ideas sometimes get picked up anyways. Scientology. I'm just kidding.
But the thing is, we don't have enough information about the study in general, because generally in studies, you guys been through uni, so you obviously know this. At the end, there's always how should I say, a reflection, pretty much, on how the test went and what could be major improvements and stuff like that. For all we know, they could have just got like all game developers from the same company, and they all work together on like Minesweeper or something like that, and we don't know.
Tetris Effect.
I think it's more of a failure on the article, whoever wrote about this piece in the article, rather than the study itself. Yeah. Because this article doesn't really go full. It's almost like it's cherry picking certain lines.
They shouldn't even be reporting on it because it's not a valid study.
Anything to do clicks, man.
Yeah.
Anything to do clicks.
Exactly.
I can name drop a couple outlets right now, but I'm not going to. That would be relevant for that.
Yeah.
And I could also name drop pretty hard a joke, but considering we had a problem with this earlier in the week, I'm not going to bring it up again. So I'm not going to say that live. Anyway, so...
by the way, can you just imagine if articles start becoming more like YouTube clickbaits?
It already happens. It already happens.
Like, something like, I drowned my cat for this game, or something like that.
It's already happening.
Let me just put it this way. During the elections that happened right now in America, the midterm elections, I read several articles, and I always made sure to read the source of where this information comes from. Right. Not a lot of people do that. A lot of people just read a headline, and that is their fact now.
Right. That's like, as much as I love Reddit and everything, Reddit probably shouldn't be your primary source of news, because like every format of Reddit that you see only encourages you to read the headline. So, what's up?
I use Reddit as a game guide. Sometimes I'll post a question, hey, how do I do this? Someone would ask.
Reddit is good because you get a lot of people, Anthony. Don't be so judgmental. You get a lot of people. All you have to do is just sort out what is obviously the fakes.
I have no issue with Reddit at all, apart from when you follow blinking group rules and then you get banned for no reason.
How do you get banned on Reddit?
No, like banned from a group.
It's honestly not very hard to do, but
really?
yeah.
I've never been banned on Reddit before.
Neither have I, but like, if you look in,
I've been like 30.
Yeah. Okay. So just to clarify, Anthony isn't like trolling people on Reddit
No.
or anything. It's
Okay.
like it's for all of his bans have been for specific subreddits for self-promotion rule violations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So it's like don't take this as like Anthony is some shitlord on the internet or something, okay? You know.
yeah.
But yeah.
I mean,
Alright,
yeah,
but-
yeah.
No, my critique of Reddit still stands. And granted, you have a lot of people, but like most of the people on Reddit do get kind of hive mindy from time to time, also.
yeah.
Which is any kind of forum, any kind of
Right, exactly.
forum.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just how it is.
Yeah, it's
I
like the
think
same
as long as
critique of
that's a
Reddit.
huge group, as long as it's a huge group, someone says their
That's
opinion,
worse.
and if like another person agrees, it's just gonna keep building up. I think essentially that's pretty much what happened with Diablo Immortal as well, in my opinion.
Well, okay, I think like so really quick. It's like I think outside of all the things I just said about Reddit, the worst part about it to me is people not understanding how the downvote button actually works.
Yeah, I actually don't know how that works either. Like, I just,
Okay,
I just
so for those of you who don't know, this is a PSA. The downvote button isn't for someone you disagree with. It's for someone that like doesn't add anything to the to the conversation.
Really, I
Okay.
thought it was it
Oh.
looked like a disagree with button.
Kevin,
You don't agree.
Yeah, it's like it always gets used as a disagree with button, but yeah, it's
Oh,
just like it's
good
for
to know.
people. It's just like you know you have someone presenting one side of an argument, and then someone replies with the other side of that argument or something. You should also upvote that dude who replied with the other side, even if
But-
you don't agree with it. But then you should probably downvote the guy who said that you're all dumb.
Right, exactly.
What,
Okay, I get
Yeah, you
what
should down-
happens
yeah.
though if that argument is
Okay.
absolutely terrible? Like that article about technomasculinity.
Upvote it for the sake of discussion. Like that's the thing. Yeah, it's just like if it generates discussion, then you should upvote it. That's the thing.
discussions online.
I
are
drowned
very,
my
very
cat
taxing.
playing this game. That invokes discussion. Come on.
I honestly thought when you.
I'm sorry, that was the best, like, most clickbaity title I could come up with on
That
this
was pretty
point.
good.
I am
When you gave me that article to read, I was like, wait a minute, is this about Warframe? Because they're called the
don't
Tenno.
diss Warframe. Warframe is a good game,
Yeah.
especially the new update. Apparently it's much bigger than the Fields of Eidolon, so I'm absolutely hyped for it.
How do you
Pity
play
I don't play.
Warframe? I honestly asked this because I tried playing Warframe twice, but
Really?
I think their tutorial is crap. I have no idea what to do once the tutorial's over.
I think the tutorial has to be updated because they introduced a lot of mechanics since the original tutorial, so it doesn't actually go through the actual specifics. But
Yeah, I would like
I
to know
could
what is the
totally run it
gameplay
down.
loop. What should I do? What should I be working towards? Once you're done with the tutorial, you're pretty much left alone. I'm like, wait, so what do I do now? Like, what? How do I play to engage this game?
Hmm.
Yeah.
do
That was-
missions, kill stuff.
All right, that's fair. My
Yes.
problem with Warframe tutorial and a lot of other games tutorial also is that it's like if I one-shot enemies in the tutorial, I have no idea like if I'm
You
actually
think
going
it's
to
so
enjoy
strong?
Is this relevant to trans masculinity?
Yes.
or
It's got to be-
techno-masculinity.
I don't know.
You know what? Warframe gives me a false sense of techno-masculinity. In that game, I one-shot my opponents, but in real life, it takes a lot more than one shot to bring down my opponents.
to be fair,
Yeah.
those specific opponents, you do pretty much one-shot them no matter what. It's just that you get introduced to harder opponents.
Okay, well, I want to fight them in the middle of like the tutorial. I want to see what a harder enemy is like. I want to see what the combat is like against, an extended engagement.
I mean, I still
Alright.
think it does build them up slowly. I think, in my opinion.
Okay. Maybe once I do my PC back up and running, I'll take another look at it. All right,
Yeah,
so
you can take another look at it. The main problem I have with Warframe though, is just pretty much the grind. It is huge.
okay.
So I'll basically tell you how to the basics of getting a new Warframe. So this is what most Warframes do. You buy the chassis, the systems, and the helmet from the shop. And what you do is you is you also buy the blueprints, and you pretty much farm for all the materials for those. Then
Okay.
once you got all the materials, you have to build the chassis, the helmet, and the systems separately, which takes a day. And then afterwards, then you can build it all
Wait,
together.
a real day? Like a whole 24
real
hours?
day.
Oh man.
Oh, that
It's
doesn't
pretty-
bother me.
well,
I play
it's,
Eve.
it's about 12 hours actually. It's about 12
Okay.
hours.
Okay.
And after that, you can build them all at the same time, thankfully. When you start building the Warframe, that will take about 3 days.
Okay.
That still doesn't bother me because I play Eve.
That
It bothers me so
life-sucking-
much.
I'm used
When
I'm
I
used to like
farm-
27 real life day skill trains from Eve. Okay, 3 days is nothing. Okay. Yeah, that's not an issue.
Taylor, so how do you feel about the news about Eve that I read recently about introducing new players to the, by taking out, I'm sorry, I'm not really familiar with Eve, but they said that they are changing the way space engagements are handled.
What do you mean? Like, yeah, are you mean like on a technical level? Oh, okay. No, I think I know what you're alluding to. All right, so back in May or June of this year, we got the summer update for EVE Online, which was called Back to the Abyss, which was kind of ironic because later in the year, CCP, the makers of EVE, would be acquired by Pearl Abyss. But anyway, yeah. But anyway, I added this area of space called it's called Abyssal Dead Space. Okay, and there's a bunch of lore about it. It's basically instanced PvE content that's on a timer. Okay, and I guess the closest thing to liking it too would be Greater Rifts from Diablo 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's the.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
What about the new FPS that they're doing in the Eve world? We did discuss this a while back, but it's looking pretty cool.
Yeah, I can touch on that a little bit later. But anyway, so in the Abyssal Dead Space, it did have some controversy for a number of reasons, but most of that is that, it was this relatively safe from other players PvE environment, which Eve didn't really have until then type thing. But also, one criticism of Eve over the years has been the fact that, this really like solo PvP stuff and small game PvP stuff, so like groups of like 10 to 50 people or so, that market kind of died out, so to speak, or that playstyle kind of died out over the years, just because Eve has always had the problem of N+1, whereas like, typically the person who just has one more ship than your fleet will probably win that engagement, So it's like, there's that issue, and people have proposed, maybe, to keep the solo and like small game stuff alive, maybe do like a matchmaking system or something like that, because so much of that playstyle revolves around going to get a fight that is fairly even or whatever, and that can sometimes take hours, okay, to be fair. And so what they're doing is to kind of keep this playstyle alive in Eve is for the winter update, which comes out on Tuesday actually, they're adding to the Abyssal Dead Space kind of this arena you can go into that'll match you, not really match you, but if someone else is in the arena also waiting for you, then you can enter in this arena and fight, and they have 1v1 and 3v3 also.
Okay, that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what I think it means, because I'm not aware of any sort of like major technical rewrites or something that they're doing.
Eve is the game where if you lose a ship, it's gone forever, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's perma loss.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like a roguelike, really? Ugh.
No, not at all. Yeah.
You're a fleet commander.
No,
And
you just-
you never
you
die.
No, you never really die. But anyway, yeah. So I think that'll be really cool for new people also, as long as they tone down the overall difficulty of Abyssal Dead Space. Because at Eve Vegas this year, we had, I forget CCP's resident statistician's name, but we had this guy basically say that, most of the people that do Abyssal Dead Space have been playing the game for a while, and their ships that they use aren't something that a new player really has access to. And it's like, the problem is more compounded as you get higher and higher up. And so, yeah, that's the end of it. Until you guys are bored.
No, not really.
Yeah, until you guys are bored. Yeah, and then Project Nova, that FPS. Looks
Yes,
pretty cool also.
it does. I might be interested in
Anthony,
that.
you seem excited about it.
I am. It's going to be free to play, which looks awesome.
Yeah.
Just because it's free to play. Not really. It's all like the FPS world is interacting with the Eve world, so you can like call in airdrops and all that from the like Eve ships and all that.
Are you asking me if that'll be a mechanic? Or...
No, it is a mechanic.
Oh, okay, it is.
going
Yeah,
to be
that's
a
like
mechanic.
Okay, yeah, that is a carryover from Dust 514, which was the other Eve FPS that recently got the plug pulled on it.
I was looking forward to that one.
Wait. Yeah, okay, you know what? Never mind. So yeah, Project Nova, that's going to be the spiritual successor of Dust 514. And I think it'll be cool, just like 514 was cool conceptually.
Right.
How do we
I like the
know?
idea of, like, I can help the Eve players by being good at FPS.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
How do we know it's not the same game but just renamed? Like they've just kind of switched it across, kind of thing.
Yeah, we don't until the game actually launches or we see more like footage from it. We don't actually know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very fair. That's very fair. All right, so last gaming news topic is reportedly Nintendo has begun heavy development of the next 3D Zelda title.
Nice.
So let's get
wasn't that obvious?
Well, in the sense of like, this isn't just concept art that's sitting in some dude's closet ready to be pulled out. This is like, they're actually starting to get models into engines and whatnot. Like they're actually.
They were trying to do like a early 2020 release. No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I never heard anything about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait,
maybe
Joel,
it's just
talk
my own
about that.
speculation.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Well, it sounds exciting either way. The news that they're working on a new Zelda title. I'm honestly surprised because I thought with the Breath of the Wild engine in that world, they could have done a quick turnaround and had a Majora's Mask type of situation where you repopulate that world, put in new stuff, and have players go at it. Because Breath of the Wild was really good.
I don't think Nintendo's into eroge like that.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore. That was just that one time on Majora's Mask.
Yeah, but the thing about Majora's Mask, yes, it came out a month later, but essentially they recycled Ocarina of Time, and even though you don't feel it, Majora's Mask is much smaller.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like there's only a few actually consistent or like essential maps, pretty much, and the whole entire thing is driven by the time limit and then the story, which makes it feel big, but it's actually not that big. So
right.
They can do a Majora's Mask, but I don't think they're gonna be able to do a Breath of the Wild. That's just ridiculous.
I will say though that like whatever they do, I do kind of hope it does have Breath of the Wild's world, because that's such a massive, beautifully well-built world to only. I don't want to say go to waste, because certainly Breath of the Wild was not a waste in any way, but
it has so many good systems too.
Right, exactly. It's like I would hate to see a departure from that world,
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of a bit hard to kind of see Breath of the Wild and then have a game that's going to be less than that kind of thing. So you would think that they would kind of have to live up to what Breath of the Wild is. Even if they recycle a map and use that again, that'd be a decent thing to do, I guess.
Yeah, like...
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, go ahead, Joel. No, you go ahead.
Okay. I'm really looking forward to like what they introduce, because the main thing that I love about the Legend of Zelda franchise is the fact that every single game they're always putting in new mechanics, especially the 3D games. You can actually see a steady progression of improvements, new mechanics, and just overall the game quality.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that Breath of the Wild I believe it kind of throws a wrench into that problem now, because I'll be honest, I did not like the 3D linear Zelda games. I didn't really like Wind Waker. I didn't really like Ocarina of Time. I've seen my friends play them and watched the story through them, but I was never fully a big fan until Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild really clicked with me because it gave me the freedom to do whatever I wanted and go wherever I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have speculated, could this be the new divide between, how there was the 3D Zelda games and then the portable Zelda games, right? Like Minish Cap, the
Link to the Past,
Link to the Past, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Could this be the third split, where now you have these more open world Zeldas and then the more linear structured Zeldas?
Yeah,
I don't know if that might happen, but I for one really love Breath of the Wild, and it would be a shame to see that type of style go away by making the next one more linear. Or maybe it could be a mix of both. It could be somewhat linear, but we're gonna give you a space to play, to play in.
I mean, I kind of find it difficult to see if the 3DS is dying, for instance. I kind of figure it they would have a bit of a hard time putting a game like Spirit Tracks or something on Switch.
Right.
Unless it was like a portable only version or something like that. But
Not Spirit Tracks. That
Wow.
was a terrible.
I
That
heard
was
Phantom Hour,
great.
that was good though, right?
that was
yeah,
great.
Oh, okay.
What?
So
I like
in-
both of those.
Spirit Tracks is good.
I don't know.
No. Here. Let me explain.
No.
So when Wind Waker first came out, it was terrible, but it got a cult following when Phantom Hourglass came out. It was
Oh,
Phantom
dear.
Let me finish. Check it out. Wind Waker was hated when it first came out, but
It was,
because
yeah.
because of Phantom Hourglass, people reconsidered it, and it became a cult classic.
Yeah.
Not exactly the black sheep of the franchise, but it became a classic. And so it became popular that they put Toon Link in like Smash Bros and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Spirit Tracks not only did not have a memorable villain, the guy was a bloody like short leprechaun, pretty much. That was the antagonist. You were the hero of trains.
I mean, we had a Michael
Train.
Jackson elf in Skyward Sword. I think that's on the same level of. Never mind.
But he was creepy and threatening, not bloody, not like a child trying to kick your shin.
Okay, that's fair.
And also-
It's like
It was
honestly,
still
Train.
cool.
Trains.
I enjoyed it.
Enough said. Trains.
There's nothing wrong with trains.
Oh, you got the hero of time, the hero of the sky, the hero of Twilight, and we got the hero of trains.
you forgot
He
the
is
hero of
known
Wind,
as the
my dude.
hero of trains.
Trains can be cool. There's train
Exactly.
Transformers. There's a Kamen Rider series filled with trains.
Although, all right, so I will say that
I'll give it credit though. I'll give it credit. It is one of the few games where Zelda is not just standing in the background as a pretty little
Being
princess that you have to
useless.
do stuff for. Technically, you play as her.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the
I'll give
spoiler
them credit
question
for
mark? I don't know.
Nah, I don't think it's spoilers. This is like 10-year-old game now.
Bit late for that.
I do think that Nintendo, we were talking about Half-Life 3 earlier. I do think Nintendo kind of Half-Life 3 to themselves with whatever this next Zelda game will be, because, I don't know, it would be really hard to follow up with Breath of the Wild. Nintendo could certainly do it,
Nintendo could
but
totally do it.
yeah, Nintendo could do it,
Yeah.
although I don't think it will be the Zelda, because, keep in mind, it took them 20 years to beat Ocarina of Time, arguably. Yeah.
True.
I like Kevin's idea.
You also
though.
gotta remember, Breath of the Wild is. I love Breath of the Wild. I swear by it. I think it's one of the best 3D Zelda game that made me play it in completion. Right?
Yeah.
Collected 600 Korok seeds. Cool in theory, not in practice.
Mm.
So, but what if they added 30 temples or 1,200 enemies that are special and unique ways to defeat? Like they could do a lot more with that formula and add even better stuff.
Yeah, it's like they could definitely make a bigger, better world type thing, but
Yeah.
it,
I mean,
we'll really see.
yeah.
Anthony, go ahead.
I like Kevin's idea where it's like, you have one major AAA release and then you have like a smaller kind of version every second year kind of thing. So they might do, not that there's a Zelda game every year, but how often do they put them out? Like every 3 years or so? 2 or 3 years?
Depending if you count the handheld versions too. Because if you count the handheld versions.
I think every single major release was meant to come out every single 4 years, but then most of them came out late.
Well, that could actually work, because if they do a major release every 4 years, and like a secondary release every 4 years, then you're gonna have a game every 2 years, kind of thing. So it's like a fortnightly release or a bi-yearly release, kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, so kind of going off like release schedules here, we do know it's like average gap between 3D Zeldas.
Yeah.
It's usually 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like we're trying to draw a development time. Do we think the Switch has a life cycle of another 4 to 5 years, or do you think the next Zelda will be on a new console from Nintendo?
No, I think it can last that long.
I think it's got
Yeah, I
another
think so
2
too.
years in it, easily.
I mean, look at the Wii. The Wii is much worse than the Switch.
The
It
Wii
helped-
got a new game in 2019 also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just Dance.
NASCAR
I'm sorry,
2011.
2018. Yeah, in 2018.
But it held two 3D Zelda games, Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. I think the Switch can definitely hold out.
Okay. The
Plus,
Wii U got its fair share if you get remasters.
Yeah. Plus, remember, we live in this world where half console generational step-ups are a thing now. Like, so
Oh, yeah?
if you just make just a more faster loading Switch with a little bit. I mean, they had a new 3DS that had one exclusive game on it, but played everything else too.
Yeah, and also not to mention that the way the Switch is now, it's a very good console with really good games. They just need more variety now. That's the only thing that they need. So in other words, really the only place if they do it right is to go up.
Yeah,
It's just
fair.
going to keep rising.
Yeah. All right. So I'll be super excited no matter what they announce. I'm a huge Zelda fan. I'll be honest. Yeah. All right. So let's kind of shift into movie/TV news type thing. Story for this week. Are any of you guys Star Trek fans? By chance?
Just the
I've
movies.
seen the remakes.
Oh God, really?
I-
wrong with those, but like, no one here's ever seen Star Trek Next Generation or anything.
Is that the one with Patrick
I've seen a
Stewart?
bit.
Yes.
Okay. Which is the one with the girl that was like an elf?
Descriptive.
Okay. Which is the one where the second in command was a Vulcan girl, and they had blue suits on for a majority of it?
Did you just call a Vulcan an elf? Sorry, did you just call a Vulcan an elf?
I think that's the
Are you
original
trying
series.
to piss off the whole Star Trek fandom here?
As soon as
I don't know. I
as
just
soon
like
as
the
he
movies.
said that, our viewership spiked.
Say
I'll look it up right
goodbye.
now.
Debate, debate,
Say goodbye
debate.
to your company. We're ruined. You just
Yeah.
pissed off the whole Star Trek fandom.
All right. Yeah, the band.
Elves.
Anyway, so yeah, Patrick Stewart, who played Captain Jean-Luc Picard in the Star Trek: The Next Generation TV show, is coming back as his role as Captain Picard for a new series about him.
Cool.
Yeah,
Patrick
and
Stewart's
so-
always great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just like I always thought that I'm not a massive Trekkie or anything, but Next Generation Star Trek is just awesome. Okay, like I
don't think.
actually
okay.
love that series. What's up, Kevin?
Just
I don't think my heart will be able to
Just
take
to
it.
Star Trek Enterprise. That's the one. I've seen a couple episodes of that one.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the one I'm talking about. Where like
Ah,
I think the girl, the second in command to the
elf.
captain is Vulcan.
Okay. The space elf.
The
Space elf.
Pointy
Wait,
ears,
so
come
which-
on.
Does she wear
Which one-
a
wait,
green
so
tunic?
Which series are you talking? Which Star Trek series are you talking?
Oh, Star Trek Enterprise. That's the one I've seen a couple episodes of.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I never fully followed it, but I would watch that.
Is
thing when it
there
was on.
Enterprise? I thought Enterprise was just the name of the ship.
No,
yeah,
no,
it's
there's
a
an actual series called Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah.
It came out in. It has 4 seasons. Came out in 2001.
Ooh,
Oh,
interesting.
okay. I didn't know that.
All right, but anyway, yeah, Star Trek Next Generation loved by pretty much everyone in the community, so super happy about
Yeah.
this. I definitely want to check this out. And I
Wait,
guess this was
but,
kind of news to me. As I mentioned before, I'm not really a Trekkie, but I never got super into it. But I guess Star Trek has been very alive and well outside of the reboot movies.
Oh yeah, with the CBS All Access show,
What's that?
Star Trek.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a cult classic. It's like Star Wars, pretty much. Like when the
Yeah.
prequels came out, people were like, nah, we're going back to the old one. So
It's like, oh man,
That's-
screw it.
yeah. Honestly, each time I see Patrick Stewart, I just think, oh, Charles, why did you have to die? Because sorry, I love Logan so much. It was such a sad film.
that was
it was
so
such a
heartbreaking.
good tribute. It tore my heart in two.
But yeah.
Uh,
Are you excited
Alright.
for this, Taylor? For this new show that's coming up?
I am, yeah.
Would that
it's like-
make you subscribe to CBS All Access then?
honestly, just to watch the show, yeah, I'll subscribe.
Yeah, because you could subscribe for a month and watch the whole thing through, and then
Okay.
cancel if you wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That'll probably be the plan.
Nice.
Anthony, you a
I'm
Star Trek
lost.
fan?
No, I'm
Okay.
not. I don't like Star Trek.
Oh, I was gonna say, do they even have Star Trek in Australia? Yeah.
Yes,
too
they
bad.
do. They've got like the old 1980s one, like on daytime TV.
We have
Very
we
nice.
have next
Wait, that is
generation.
the next generation. Yeah, what? That is the next generation. What are you talking about? That's awesome.
Oh.
We
Is
also
it?
have.
I've
we
got
also
no
have
idea.
Yeah, we
Which is
just
the
they,
one
they
with,
play they play both Voyager and Next Generation.
Ah, Voyager is trash though.
when was the William Shatner one?
The 60s.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one was that's Khan, right?
Yeah, that's one of the movies, The Wrath of Khan.
I must say, I
Yeah,
like
I
the
can't remember the name
newer
of the
movies though.
But yeah, William Shatner and Captain Kirk, that was in the 60s.
Khan.
Can I say something? And it might be a slight spoiler if you guys haven't seen Star Trek Into the Darkness. No, wait, not Star Trek. What was the second Star Trek movie?
It's pretty much that one.
Yeah,
It's pretty
right?
much the same movie. Yeah.
That was secretly a Khan movie, you know, and I think they could have marketed it better if they had more alluded to the Star Trek fans, because I remember at the time it did poorly in the box office.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was really.
But then when I watched them, it was like, oh, this is secretly. I know, even as a person who doesn't watch Star Trek, you hear, you know, culture references in other TV shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Even I knew who Khan was too. I was like, why didn't you market this as, hey, the new Khan, played by Doctor Strange?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
There you go, that guy. Sorry. I forgot his name for a second.
Yeah.
Played by an elf.
Oh my god.
The space elf, the Vulcan. All right.
That's yeah.
And then, gearing into anime news, we covered a couple weeks ago that Crunchyroll and Funimation Funimation was pulling out of the Verve agreement with Crunchyroll, and a further update to this is that Funimation and Crunchyroll have kind of severed ties with each other, and Crunchyroll released the list of anime that would be affected by this. You know, they'll want to be on the platform. At the same time, though.
Top 10 anime betrayals.
Right? At the same time, though, Crunchyroll has announced Crunchyroll dubs.
Oh no.
Funimation has announced Funimation subs.
So pretty much they became two separate entities, now competing competitors.
Yeah, exactly. So for those
Yeah.
of you who don't quite know, Funimation was always known for doing their English dubbing work of anime that would come out, everything.
Which were good most of the time. Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Z, spectacular.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, whereas
Cowabunga,
Crunchyroll,
you know.
Crunchyroll is of course famous for rapidly subbing shows that come to the platform. So
That same day, right? Like sometimes they'll air like in.
it's within an hour.
Oh wow, that's very good.
It's within an hour or two. Yeah, it's awesome. But
Nice.
yeah, and so yeah, they went into this Verve agreement, which is kind of like a unified streaming service. You get Funimation and Crunchyroll, which is what most people were subscribed to. But then you get also a couple other like cool streaming services they might not have heard about. Also, like I forget the name of it on the app, but there's this Asian drama streaming service, and I'm super into some Korean dramas right now off of Verve because of it. So. I mean, there's that. But anyway, most people had Verve because it was a joint Funimation Crunchyroll subscription for the price of just one of those. So,
Korean dramas.
yeah. You got a
I'm
problem
so
with that?
sorry.
Yeah, problem with that?
No, I just.
There was a while there that I would watch in the late 90s, like Japanese dramas, but that's because they were based on animes that they converted to dramas later on.
Good God.
You mean live actions?
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, but I just
no.
found dramas because they just look like drama to me. Because
Oh.
being a Latino, you know, heritage, we have novelas, which are just straight up drama. Everything, like anything's drama, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Japanese live actions are so terrible. There's only one that I can think of that actually did decently well, and it actually did so well that they're actually planning a trilogy of it.
What is it?
It's Rurouni Kenshin.
Oh, really? They're
Oh,
making that?
we're doing a trilogy of that? Okay, sweet.
Yeah, they already got the second one out, the
Oh, okay.
the Kyoto Attack one, and then now they're doing the final one.
Okay.
The-
Joel,
the
have you seen the Bleach adaptation? The Bleach live action?
Look, just
Maybe
that was terrible.
just so you're all aware, I'm having like
Maybe
an,
want to drink it. Like, okay, this was my
hold on.
expectation.
Let Anthony
I was-
talk. Let Anthony talk.
I'm
Oh,
having
yeah,
like
go
a
ahead.
Bathurst discussion in the chat, so I've got no idea what you're talking about. I'm not
Alright.
chatting with three other people
Alright.
about stuff.
But yeah, I find, back to the topic at hand, I find it super duper ironic that it's like Crunchyroll has like developing their own program to make up for the lack of dubbing, and then Funimation is developing their own program to make up for the lack of subbing.
And that's because Sony bought Funimation, or I forgot how the whole trade.
Yeah, Sony bought Funimation. Yeah.
Yeah, so then hey, we know you have this partnership, but we want to invest money to Funimation and make it a competitor on the scene. So it's just Coke versus Pepsi all over again.
Yeah, and in case anyone's curious, just to clarify, the service that's replacing Funimation on Verve will be High Dive, which is another anime streaming service, primarily sub-based. It's like Crunchyroll's like really young brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know the Amazon anime initiative they did kind of died, right?
It did because it wasn't looped in with Prime Video. You had to pay a separate sub for Anime Strike, which was Amazon sub. But recently, it's looped into Prime Video. And Amazon has some really good series on it. The two that come to mind instantly are Land of the Lustrous, which is super awesome, and Made in Abyss, which is also super awesome. So
I want to watch that one, that Made in Abyss. That one looks really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know either.
All right.
Sorry, I've been out of the anime loop for a while.
That's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just like this whole thing is. It's like let the idol wars begin between these two. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. Funimation crowd versus Crunchyroll crowd.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so Anthony, what games are releasing this next week?
I've got a podcast again, do I?
Yeah, we're done weeping out. Sorry.
Okay, no worries.
We can weep later.
Yeah.
We're talking Holdens in the chat, so.
Oh, okay.
And like Bathurst and V8 Supercars, so. So for this week, we have Hitman 2, which is coming in 2 days' time, or 3 days' time actually, November 13th for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. The Room 3 is going to PC also on November the 13th. Spyro Reignite Trilogy is going to PS4 and Xbox One, no PC, darn it. Also on November the 13th. Fallout 76, November 14th, is going to PS4 and Xbox One and PC. That's not looking good so far. Warhammer, yeah.
Okay.
Warhammer 40k Mechanius, what the heck? Mechanicus, I think it is. He's going to PC on November the 15th. Underworld Ascendant is also going to PC on November the 15th. Bad Dream Forever is also going to PC on November the 15th. Sand is the Soul is going to Steam Early Access, also on PC, obviously on November the 15th. Hellgate London is also going to PC on November the 15th. Everything's PC at the moment. The Settlers.
Spyro.
Remember the Settlers? Right. The Settlers History Collection is going to PC. Also on November the 15th. Battlefield 5 Deluxe Edition is going to PC, PS4, and Xbox One on November the 15th as well. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is going to Switch also on November the 16th. Civilization 6 is going to Switch on November the 16th. And Distrust is going to PS4 on November the 16th. And that is it for this week. Goodbye,
Yep, it's that week, ladies and gentlemen.
We're gonna be we're gonna be broke.
I don't know. I think the only one out of these I would pick up would be Battlefield 5, to be honest.
I have Black Ops right now, so I'm good. I'm good for
Spyro
for a bit.
Oh, what? I don't know. I never got in. Yeah, I don't know. If Sean was here, he'd be defending it. But yeah, it's like Crash, Spyro. They don't do anything for me, honestly. Like,
not
sure.
If you weren't during that age where those games came out, I don't know, cause.
Well, no, I was though. I played them as a kid, but still. Just like,
no, I know. Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat as you. It's like I played them as a kid. But I don't need. There's too many good new games out right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Really?
Like, why waste more time on old stuff?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so Joel, or I'm sorry, before we close out, is there any long-standing questions in the chat?
No, there is not. Apart from, did Holden shut down?
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's still up. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's pretty sure it's still up. Alright, anyway, so yeah, back to it. Joel, where can the good people find you on the internet?
Hey, so I am under the pen name HK Glenstid. That's capital H, capital K, capital G, LENSTID. I recently got a new profile picture, which is like an updated one of my previous one. And
your girlfriend's a great drawer, by the way.
Yeah, she definitely is. And so you can find me on Tumblr fanfiction, arc of our own, Wattpad, and I recently started Instagram because my girlfriend was like, she liked my sketches, so she's like, just post them on Instagram. So I'm like, okay, sure.
Good plan.
And so I just got a lot of sketches on there. No digital art that's like really fancy and really pretty and stuff like that. Just normal sketches that
Everyone
like
starts somewhere.
But yeah, that's it. Yeah.
All right, cool. Kevin.
You can find me and my articles at culturegaming.com, which you can find on Twitter and through various other social media outlets. And you can find me personally on Twitter at Superior2099.
All right,
Cool.
awesome, very cool. And then Anthony, COG is your life.
Heck yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, you can. What's up?
No, nothing. That's nothing.
Oh, okay. All right, and then you can find me on Twitter at InfuriousElecon. Help me in my crusade against Corsair. Okay.
Will he get his PC back? Tune in next week for an update.
The world may never know.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll know right from the start of the podcast whether or not I did. Might. So. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys next week, same time, same place. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Or day.
Thank you for watching.